What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our channel, Free Spirit, Mind, and Body. And today, we'd like to talk to you about 5 signs you are beginning the awakening journey. 5 signs you are beginning to awaken.
Correct. All right, so we're going to start off with number 1. Our first point will be depression. You're experiencing some type of depression and the dark night of the soul, and we'll expand on that.
All right, so depression. A lot of people, when this starts happening to them, when they start to awaken, they don't fully understand it and they may enter into a state of depression, okay? And this can be for a lot of reasons. This can be because you start to see things differently, because you start to lose interest in things that you used to really like to do. Your life starts to change a lot. But one of the main reasons that I've, personally realized is that you start to become more empathic and you start to pick up on energies, like subtle energies or super like in your face energies. You start to pick up on all of them. And there's a huge energy in the world right now of unhappiness and suffering and like pain. And that's not a great thing, but it's a natural thing. And, due to all the changes you're experiencing, you're going to pick up on that. And whether you realize it or not, you're going to start to internalize that little by little, and that can lead to depression. And a lot of people refer to this sort of depression as the dark night of the soul.
Right. And basically, just to say one thing about that is, with the depression, it leads into the dark night of the soul because it fluctuates. So you go through periods of what I call the downs in the dark night of the soul, which is exactly what it stands for. And during these periods of the downs, you start to find different truths. You start to realize that you need to release old things that no longer serve you.
That leads to the ups.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly, and that leads to the ups. So like old experiences, old things that have bothered you for years that you don't even realize you're carrying this weight on your shoulder. It'll lead from the downs to releasing those old things and coming out feeling better on the other side. Right. But you need to understand that with the dark night of the soul, it's not just a one-time thing. You're continuing to go through. It will get easier and get better, but in the beginning it may seem like, oh my God, everything's falling apart around me.
Yeah,
I don't understand, my whole life is falling apart.
Yeah.
No, it's actually, your life is starting to come together. It has to fall apart before it comes together.
And not to get ahead of ourselves, but Hermeticism, 7 principles, the principle of polarity. You experience the highs and the lows of this dark night of the soul because those are the opposite ends of it. And eventually, what a lot of like alchemical teachers, mystic teachers will teach you is to depolarize yourself, to remove yourself from the extreme view here and the extreme view here. But once you depolarize yourself in this sense, you remove yourself from these experiences and you have just being.
Right.
You don't experience the lows and the highs, you experience just being. And we'll talk more about that later.
Exactly.
But that's how it applies. Everything comes together, and I find myself pointing that out a lot, how things correlate.
That's the truth. So our second point is that you start to feel isolated and you start to feel that you need to be alone and spend more time with yourself.
A lot of the times it's like purposeful self-isolation. You know what I mean? Like, you don't feel isolated because you have no friends and no one wants to talk to you. You feel the need to isolate yourself from maybe your friends, your family, whoever it may be. But you feel the need to be alone.
And it brings you to finding new people in your life and all of that. By isolating yourself and by spending time with yourself, it allows you to open up to a different world that you didn't even know.
Yeah, that all happens naturally.
Possible. Yep.
The reason that you want to be alone is because you're starting to realize that you need to work on yourself. You may have the greatest friends in the world and like the most awesome, fun family, but you just kind of lose the drive to go out with them. You lose the drive to make time for them, and you find yourself making more time for yourself. And you find yourself having more of a drive to be alone and to figure things out on your own. Exactly. And that's a real important part of it, to learn to be introspective.
Yep.
And to learn to turn that attention to yourself.
That goes back to doing things that you love. So find something that you can do by yourself that brings you joy and happiness and allows for you to come to your true self.
Yeah, there was a bag floating around and I wanted to get it before it flew away. But yeah, so that's that. Yep. Those are some reasons why you may find yourself being isolated.
That's the truth.
And it may be,
that's the truth.
A purposeful thing, or it may just kind of happen because, eventually when this starts to happen, you do start to change, and your views about things and your opinions about places and people starts to change, and that leads us to our next topic,
which is breaking old cycles and coming into the new, pretty much.
Right.
So with breaking old cycles, it comes in many forms. It comes in letting go of old friends that no longer serve you. It comes in form of maybe definitely spending more time with yourself, but
letting go of
old places
that no longer serve you.
Maybe you used to go out every weekend and
activities.
You would love to go out and go to bars and socialize and do things such as that, party.
Well,
but then you find that you don't really want to do those things anymore. It doesn't really serve you.
Pick your chest up for a second. Most things come in threes. Right there. Threes. You got your people, your places, your activities. These are the big three, right? That's what you're gonna find yourself changing up. So you realize that the group you're hanging out with, the place that you go to with them, and the things that you do with them no longer serve you. And it's not like a selfish thing. It's just a thing. People grow, people change. Like when you're a kid, all you may want to do is play, I don't know, like kickball or some shit, Then you grow up a little bit and you start to go out. And, then you turn 21 and you want to start drinking, And then, your friends start to get married, so you start doing like couple married activities, Things change, people change, and it's all part of growing. And this is just a spiritual growth.
Exactly, and it's the more that you continue to change and become more of your true self, is the more that you will find that the other people that are meant to come into your life will just flow into your life. It doesn't take work.
Because you start acting a certain way that brings them in.
Yeah, it's letting go of the old to bring in the new, and it has to be done. It's definitely one of the cycles that needs to be fulfilled to be on this journey.
Like when you were all about partying, you sent that intention into the universe, like, I want to party. So you attracted people that were like-minded. Right. So when you change that, when you grow out of that, you start to emanate a different sort of vibe, and you attract people of like mind.
That's true. And then our fourth point is going to be on maybe you're experiencing ringing in your ears. There could be different things you're experiencing. The ringing, seeing energy particles in the air, little dots maybe floating around. You might be seeing that. You might be feeling some type of energy in your back, in your spine.
You get like the random arms. Shivers sometimes.
Yeah, you get random
like
shivers.
Needles,
Yep.
But so the ringing in your ears and the shivers, the energy sensations, that's all Kundalini Shakti, Kundalini energy. And your Kundalini is the coiled serpent, right? It lives in the base of your spine. And it's not a snake inside you, it's energy, all right? And when you begin this awakening process, that energy stirs. When you're born, when you're an infant, the energy is active. But as you grow up, it becomes dormant and it starts to sleep. But when you start awakening, that's why they call it an awakening. You're awakening your spiritual self, you're awakening your Kundalini energy, you're awakening to your higher self, and the Kundalini stirs, and it starts to make itself known by giving you these sensations. You may get like shivers on your spine. That's because the Kundalini rides up the spine. When it's active, it flows up the spine. You may get the ringing in your ears. That's because the Kundalini resides up here. Once it gets to your third eye chakra, your crown chakra, it opens you up. It activates you. Yep. Basically, it's your on switch.
It's just signs showing you that you are going through a different process now.
Exactly.
And it's these different signs. What they are is to wake you up to the fact that you are on a different path than you were before, and there are just all these different things that you're going to experience to allow you to know that something's different here.
Yeah,
why am I experiencing all this?
A lot of people may feel it in their back, like right here, but on your back. That correlates with your solar plexus chakra. Eventually, we're going to get into the chakra system and what each chakra means and represents. But the solar plexus chakra is identified with the color yellow, and it correlates with like confidence and action. When this chakra is open, you're a very confident person. You take action, and you know how to get what you want. You know, it's the willpower. It drives you, and the Kundalini is stirring and it's knocking on that, and it's like, hey, wake up! Come on, take action, activate me. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yep.
So, put it all together. You know.
And then the last point, the fifth point that we wanted to talk about was synchronicities.
Synchronicities.
Which 333 synchronicity.
So here's an example of a synchronicity. Before we give you the definition.
Exactly.
When we were coming up with the 5 points, we're on point number 4, and we didn't know what to say, and my ears started ringing, and I said, "Oh, ringing in your ears." Boom, synchronicity.
That was one of our points. Then we decided to talk about it. So if you look at the clock, and you're seeing 111, 222, 333, 444, 555. I used to think, what the heck is going on? Why am I seeing all these numbers? Why am I seeing 1212? Why am I seeing 1111? Those are synchronicities. Those are showing you that you are on the right path.
Right.
And they all have different ways of showing you. All the numbers mean something different, but they all mean one thing. You are on a different path, which is a spiritual awakening path now.
Right. Basically, the synchronicities. Do you think we should move?
I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little loud with the, whatever. But basically, the synchronicities, what they are, think of them as like signs, like literal signposts with a sign on it from the universe that says, stop, slow down, slippery when wet, proceed. You know what I'm saying? And they're subtle, So when you see something that is a synchronicity, you have to interpret it for yourself. Because the universe isn't just going to scream at you, hey, do this. Like, that would be too easy.
Yep.
It's going to nudge you in the right direction.
Right.
You're going to see something, and you're going to think, like, in the back of your mind, maybe you love animals, and you don't know what to do with that. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing signs for, like, veterinarians' offices. Like, become a vet tech, stuff like that. Those are little subtle signs from the universe. Those are synchronicities saying, hey, maybe look into this. Maybe this is a good way to turn your passion for animals into a career path, into something that can benefit you and help a bunch of animals in the process,
That's the truth. You may be feeling very good one day, and you're driving down the highway and you see 888 and you see 333 and you see 111, and you look down at your phone and holy cow, it's 1111. Those are signs showing you that, stay on the path.
Exactly.
You are on the path. Stay on the path. Of course, there's going to be fluctuations, as we spoke about earlier in the video. You're going to have ups and downs, but just know that it's for the greater good that you are now on this path, and it is going to help you to become the best version of yourself and to allow yourself to help everyone else.
So here's a challenge that we want to leave you with. So on the note of synchronicities, a little closer. Next time you see a synchronicity, 333, 1111, whatever it is, I want you to do 2 things. I want you to look up what that represents, because like numerology, the study of numbers, every number has a different representation. And if you look into the esoteric interpretation of numerology, that's where you'll start to discover what these things mean synchronistically. So I want you to look up what the number sequence means, and I want you to apply it then to your current situation, right?
That's a great idea. I think that would tremendously help you, and
then just interpret it for yourself.
Exactly, and see how you're feeling in the moment. Why are you experiencing that synchronicity? And
because there's a reason it happened that moment and not 2 weeks ago.
Exactly, and you'll start to experience it more and more.
The more you notice it.
The more you notice it,
Exactly.
the more you'll start to experience it.
Because even if you don't understand it, they're going on constantly, or all around you. It's just when you start to notice it is when it starts to affect you.
Exactly.
Because you start to realize this number means this sequence means this. If I see a 9, it means this. And then you see one, and it's like, oh my gosh, I was just wondering what I should do about X, Y, and Z, and then I saw that. Now it's all clear to me. Now I understand. I should go for it. Or I should steer clear of that.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
And that's why there are synchronicities.
That's the truth.
But the further you develop in your awakening process, the deeper you'll be able to go on that. And it just gets better from there, you know?
That's it. Those are the 5 signs that you're awakening. And
5 signs.
We hope
Here
you have
with, my crystal Merkaba.
That's a beautiful crystal.
Love it. So
we hope you have a great rest of your day, and
that wraps up our video.
Yep, we'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Take
Namaste.
care.
Take care.
And again, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you.